Hey everyone, What If Fan here, bringing you another exciting part of What If becoming a mangaka in One Piece world. You can find the fanfic title and the original author's name on my Patreon page. Make sure to check it out and show them some love. If you enjoy the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. Alright, let's jump into it. Chapter 711, He's the son of the revolutionary dragon. Sphinx Island. What a true brotherly relationship Luffy and Ace have. Whitebeard sighed in admiration after witnessing the emotional struggle of Ace and Luffy's fierce responses, clinging to the fact that he only wants to save his brother, disregarding the rules of the pirate world. This is the Luffy we know. It's impossible for him to abandon someone in distress just because they fed him, let alone his brother. With a big smile on his face, Marco said that. Garararara. You're right, Marco, learn to have this loyalty to each other, sons. Whitebeard advised his sons. I want to see the Marines try something similar to the Summit War. Fasa laughed eagerly, looking forward to such a move. If they want to wait until my old man gets old to make a move against him, why don't we make a move on them now and destroy them? They lost their marine hero to the revolutionaries, didn't they? Also, I heard their admirals are afraid to go out to sea because of what they did in their Cold War with the hunters, trapping one of the legendary hunters and infiltrating the central prison. Jozu suggested this proposal, which made Whitebeard deeply contemplate for a while. Chapter's events. Did he just say, brother? Then, he's Roger's son as well. Both of Ace's parents died when he was born. He couldn't possibly have a younger brother. Initially, the Marines were confused after hearing the word brother from Luffy, linking it to Roger, but this far-fetched assumption was quickly dispelled. Attack, my zombies! Moria commanded his zombies to attack Luffy, but suddenly these zombies were submerged and purified by seawater. Seawater. Wah! In an instant, the zombies that Moria was boasting about turned into scattered corpses as the shadows controlling them disappeared. Those zombies of yours. I seem to recall salt was their weakness, right? Jinbei stood beside Luffy. Jinbei, exclaimed Luffy. Fishman Island. Jinbei's eyes lingered on the scene, feeling a satisfaction like no other. Look at the joy in the boy's eyes when he saw you stepping in to help him, Fisher Tiger said with a smile. I envy you, he added. Moria is nothing, Arlong expressed fiercely. Luffy has already defeated him once. He's just a defeated Shichibukai still relying on the world government for help. Even my counterpart could easily kick his butt. New Jinbei-san is so strong in the manga. Hachan felt proud after witnessing Jinbei's excellent performance in the manga. It's easy to defeat Moria as Arlong said, but it's even easier for us fishmen who master fishman karate. Seawater is the natural enemy of his zombies, Jinbei explained. That bastard Sengoku's job in this war is to expose others' backgrounds. Jamon, King Neptune commented unsatisfactorily on the next scene in the manga, which was extremely shocking for the characters in it. Ta ha ha. It's fun to see the characters in the manga react to such shocking news. Tom laughed with amusement as he saw the shocked expressions on the characters' faces in the manga. Super. Luffy's dad must be incredibly scary in the manga to cause such a reaction. Little Frankie did his famous dance while saying the word super, earning exclusive applause from the beautiful mermaids nearby. It seems that Smoker finally revealed the mystery of what happened in Lode Town at that time. Iceberg nodded with a smile at this scene. What do you think you are doing allowing a single rookie to shift the flow of battle? At that moment, Sengoku's voice boomed through the battlefield speakers. Upon hearing that, one of the giants moved to stop Luffy. Move it. I'll crush him myself. That man is another future dangerous element. It seemed like Sengoku wanted to reveal something by saying that. Not only was he raised together with Ace as an adoptive brother, but he is also the flesh and blood son of the revolutionary dragon. These words caused a momentary silence in the chaotic battlefield. Way out, they all exclaimed. Gear third. As if he wasn't in this world, Luffy used his maximum power to take down the giant vice admiral attacking him. Half an hour ago in the kingdom of Sorbet, Dragon with his green cloak and long black hair stood in the air, gazing at blocks of black clouds filled with lightning. Dragon raised his hand, surrounded by green-edged winds, and sent a part of it into the heart of the storm. A smile formed on Dragon's face at this moment as the horrifying scene before him intrigued him. As per my intentions, I might dissipate this terrifying hurricane and eliminate the threat. Moreover, I might make it even more terrifying to the extent that it can swallow the South Sea and move towards the other three seas, becoming more powerful and drawn to the Grand Line, thereby becoming a world-ending catastrophe. Perhaps the cause of the world's end is just a wave of my hand. Dragon toyed with the small hurricane above his finger, which dissipated along with his smile. But of course, I cannot do that with this hurricane. As soon as the small hurricane above his finger dissipated, the dark clouds began to disperse and vanish gradually until the sky above the kingdom of Sorbet became clear again. Dragon remained standing in the air, deep in thought. Isn't birthing a son like Luffy exactly like supporting the hurricane to become stronger and sweep the world instead of erasing it? Let's find your mother first, then we will create the greatest hurricane the world has ever known. No one will be able to stop it by then, not even me. Returning to the present time, the same smile that was drawn on Dragon's face when he was above the kingdom's sky repeated at this moment. That's right. He's Dragon's son. Let the world know this truth. No harm in that. Chapter 712, In the Depths of Events. Part 1. Chapters Events. The Son of Dragon. The Marines were bewildered upon hearing that. Waha! Both Buggy and Galdino opened their mouths in shock. Helmeppo and Kobe felt resigned after hearing a truth they already knew. He went and said it. Luffy-san. Moria was shocked the moment he heard it. He hadn't expected that the little pirate he wanted to kill was the son of such a big shot. At this point, it is hardly surprising. Mihawk made a short comment expressing his lack of surprise at anything related to Luffy. Hancock put her hand on her cheek in a tender gesture while thinking. You could be the son of demons for all I care. Redheart. As for Bartholomew Kuma, he remained silent without any notable reaction. I see, so that's how he got Ivankov on his side. It makes sense now. Doflamingo laughed wickedly after finally unraveling this confusion. Dragon's son. I see. Even Jimbei was surprised after hearing that. This explains what happened at Log Town. Smoker recalled that fateful day when Dragon stood like a ghost behind him, preventing him from capturing the Straw Hat. Calling HQ. Calling HQ. Reporting from the Sabaody archipelago. Journalists in Sabaody rushed to get a scoop on this massive news. Dragon. As in the dragon. We have huge news. The whole world has to hear this. I care not, there is no longer any need to hide it. Luffy has already gained such power and infamy that such labels may as well mean nothing. Garp completely ignored the matter, appearing truly unconcerned about the horrifying truth revealed about his grandson. Ha! Meanwhile, Luffy was battling the giant who had attacked him, dodging his massive blows repeatedly. Gomu Gomu. Luffy's huge hand in Gear 3rd form began spinning at a frightening speed. Gigant Rifle. The giant felt dizzy as he was struck by a giant fist the size of his body, sending him flying and crashing into Marineford's walls. Yeah! The pirates cheered loudly for Luffy. ACE. I don't care what you say. I'm going to save you even if it kills me. Marco. Don't you dare let that boy die. Whitebeard ordered with a smile. Roger that. Marco nodded. Luffy's scream silenced the crowd of readers. They had just discovered how determined Luffy truly was to save Ace, even if it meant his death. Seeing Ace freeze upon hearing that, and witnessing Whitebeard smile as he openly protected Luffy, made the readers erupt in unprecedented excitement. In the kingdom of Rashwan, the shock and excitement could be heard from most readers at that moment. Among the readers was a young man wearing glasses and a hat with the number 3 on it. Yes, it was the younger version of Mr. 3 Galdino once again. Galdino adjusted his glasses and focused on the face of Mr. 3, who stood behind Buggy. Is Buggy better than me? Why is he always showcased before me? That's not fair. His voice was so loud that it caught attention once again, almost as if Galdino had completely forgotten the last time he drew attention to himself, almost getting abducted by world government agents had it not been for a store goddess intervention. Why is my counterpart so shocked like this? Does Dragon really have this much fame in the manga world? Not far from Rashwan, on Batarilla Island, Buggy adjusted his posture and turned his back in surprise after hearing his counterpart's exaggerated reaction upon learning about Dragon and the truth that he was Luffy's biological father. Haha, you can imagine the impact of a man who desires revolution against the world government. This is worse than what Roger did. Rayleigh laughed at Buggy's naivety before explaining to him why Dragon had such an impact. The Revolutionary Army has already appeared in the world now, and they have become extremely powerful by adding Garp to their ranks, haven't they? Why does the world government still ignore them? Shanks asked curiously. That's because they have enough headaches already. In this world, there are things scarier than the Pirate King and the revolutionary leader. There's the Sky Sword, said Rayleigh. Hearing that, Shaggy smiled silently. These cowards are hiding again, haha. Garp's training for them went down the drain. Ha 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 ha. You're right, ha 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 ha. In the East Blue, specifically in the Yotsuba Sea region on Relia Island, both Coney and Morgan laughed heartily at their cowardly sons while exchanging proud looks. In the central prison on Hunter's Island, Moria remained calm this time to avoid getting kicked again by the Golden Lion. Damn you, Jimbei. Damn you, Straw Hat. Damn you, Dragon. Oh, and lest I forget. Damn you, Shiki-Ah. Moria forgot to silently contemplate the last of his thoughts, blurting it out loud, wanting to rectify the situation but found the Golden Lion's leg already embracing his face again. Boom! He was sent kissing the wall once more. Ohara. Mihawk looked at his manga counterpart with interest. It seems my counterpart is no longer surprised about Straw Hat. Hawkeye was the one who saw Luffy at the beginning of his journey and knew about his dream to become Pirate King, so he knows more about him than anyone present, which is why it's hard for him to be surprised now. Especially since someone like Luffy is unlikely to have a small background, added Isho with a smile. You're right. What's she thinking, this foolish girl? Hancock blushed as she read her manga counterpart's thoughts after learning who Luffy's father was. Seeing this reaction left Rob speechless. Don't tell me it's already. But this child boy even been born yet? Damn it. Ha ha ha. Seeing Rob's dismal expression, Olivia couldn't keep a straight face and burst out laughing. Ha 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 ha. After that, Belmere, Glora, Otoheim, Sora, and Toki also laughed without caring about Rob's dejected expressions. It was amusing to see Rob with the low spirit facing the reality that one of his daughter's hearts had already been stolen. And the thief was a manga character. Chapter 713, In the Depths of Events. Part 2. Once again in the battlefield in the manga, Marineford readers, mostly from the Marines and their families, were nervously salivating as they read the chapters. They moved from chapter to chapter without realizing it, as the events became increasingly strange with each chapter, and the war became stranger as scenes often focused on Luffy, currently. In the Fleet Admiral's office, where only the elites gathered in this room, the expression on Sengoku's face was calm as he watched the characters' reactions about the backdrop of Luffy's revelations. It seems that Garp truly doesn't care about his grandson's background being revealed publicly, he said with surprise. In that case, I think that besides Ace, even if we were to kill Luffy as well, he wouldn't be able to do anything except watch silently, sighed Kuzan inwardly about his teacher's situation in the manga, who seemed afraid to use his power to enforce what he wanted. The overwhelming power he had spent his life honing by punching ships and mountains was not enough for him when it came to determining his grandchildren's fates. So what was the point of that power in this case? For Kuzan, Garp appeared as an old lion who had removed his own fangs and surrendered to his master, who was now disciplining his cubs without any reaction. Through these significant reactions of the characters in the manga, it seems that Dragon and his revolutionary army have deeper implications than I previously thought. Sengoku pondered for a moment before continuing. From now on, we must delve deeper and deeper into the events until we reach the essence. It seems that we've been scratching the surface all along. Upon hearing that, the admirals and vice-admirals nodded in understanding of the fleet admiral's words. Seeing the characters' reactions to the name Dragon made them all understand that Dragon might indeed be the most dangerous man in the world, as previously described. The most dangerous criminal in the world. What weight does that title carry? Sengoku ignored his counterpart's revelation about Luffy's real father's name and focused on a specific scene in the next chapter. Even after hearing the name Dragon, my counterpart remained silent and without any notable reaction. Strange. In Sorbet's art store, Bartholomew Kuma still focused intently on his silent counterpart throughout the Summit War events up to this moment. He was completely immersed in the events. Little Bonnie looked worriedly at her father and didn't know what to say to reassure him. Dragon noticed this and spoke. Vegapunk must have done something to Kuma in the manga. He's the only one who can explain what's happening to you. After all, the small explanation your counterpart gave in Thriller Bark about becoming a cyborg is not enough. Kuma nodded in agreement. You're right, Dragon-san. I don't think you really mean what you're saying, man. Garp couldn't handle any more rice crackers at this moment, seeing his counterpart's helpless expression once again. I care not. There is no longer any need to hide it. Luffy has already gained such power and infamy that such labels may as well mean nothing. That's what Garp said in the manga after Sengoku revealed Luffy's father's name. This scoundrel Sengoku. Isn't he my friend? Why has his heart suddenly become so cruel? Garp crushed the cookie in his hand into crumbs, feeling betrayed at this moment. Betrayed by one of his closest friends. Anyway, your counterpart, my father, is absolutely right in what he said. Luffy no longer needs protection. Even if the truth of me being his father is revealed, it won't affect him at all. Because his counterpart's identity is truly something, it will benefit him much more than harm. Dragon said expressionlessly. Back in Ohara, Rob could hear Doflamingo's wicked laughter at this moment. He must be enjoying himself very much. Rob shook his head and ignored Doffy, refocusing on his little girls who were bombarding him with questions here and there. Phew. It seems my counterpart knows a thing or two about the Revolutionary Army as well. Doffy laughed after hearing what his counterpart said, feeling enlightened after hearing Luffy's background truth. That's right, it seems your counterpart is familiar with Ivankov being part of the Revolutionary Army. Your counterpart must have had some dealings with the Revolutionary Army. Hey, anyway, it's good to see my future self having a good time. Phew. Fishman Island. The image of his counterpart in the manga who mentioned Luffy's father's name reflected in Jinbei's eyes. Luffy's father must be a great figure, he said. All the hints point to that. Fisher Tiger nodded in agreement. I bet he's causing a lot of trouble for the world government, Tiger added. Do you think he might appear in this war to support his son? We really miss his appearance. Jinbei wondered. That's right, his appearance is more anticipated than Shank's appearance. East Blue, Log Town. Young Smoker's eyes sparkled as he looked at the manga pages. Finally, my foolish counterpart can unravel the mystery in this matter. He nodded eagerly and continued reading, quickly flipping to the next chapter, which seemed promising from its title. Sabaody Archipelago. Inside the art store, readers were in constant chatter and excitement. Ha. It seems our Sabaody Archipelago has the honor of broadcasting the war live. And is there anything to be proud of? The reason the Marines moved the war to the archipelago must be because of the celestial dragons who want to watch the war. I forgot it's closer to the Marine headquarters. Ha. The art store's ability to broadcast live scenes is much better. The whole world can watch that. Are you comparing the art store to Den Den Mushi for audio-visual transmission? Are you stupid? There's no comparison between that and this. These journalists watching are causing a commotion repeatedly. When will Rayleigh appear? He must be watching the broadcast too. The readers in Sabaody Archipelago were looking forward to seeing Rayleigh and knowing his stance on joining the war to save Ace or not. Tisk, this guy is a disgrace to the Giants' warriors. Gaya Gaya Jaya. What do you expect from a vice admiral joining the Marines instead of waiting for the time when the sun god appears, as a true warrior? Gabba Bababa. In Elbath, the giant Dory and Broggy mocked the giant vice admiral who intervened to stop Luffy but ended up being hit by Luffy's gear third. Who is this sun god you talk about so much? The young giants like Hudrudden were surprised after hearing this unfamiliar name. Hey, maybe the sun god is no longer needed with Lord Rob nearby, but we giants have made a promise to wait for him. As warriors, we won't betray our ancestors' will. Broggy explained mysteriously. Gerald, the village chief, observed this with a mysterious smile on his face, then his eyes returned to the manga book. Humph. The look of disdain replaced the smile upon seeing the Marine Giants' unit again. Chapter 714, Karma. Gorararara. It seems my counterpart saw it at this quickly. The bright light covering Straw Hat Luffy, the person Roger is waiting for, indeed. At the Sphinx art store, Whitebeard was very satisfied with his counterpart's stance regarding Luffy in the manga. Marco. Don't you dare let that boy die. These were the words of Whitebeard in the manga, indicating his acknowledgement of Luffy and his right to be protected. It's enjoyable to see destinies intertwine. Someone like Luffy, I would love for him to be my son. Perhaps if that were the case, he would be the dearest son to my heart. Whitebeard expressed his sincere opinion about Luffy, feeling that with every situation, ethic, mood, and even his childish side, he would be an exceptionally special son. Unfortunately, it seems he hasn't been born yet, Yui, Marco commented with jealousy. Gorararara. It seems I will search for Dragon and force him to let me adopt his son. Stussy seemed speechless at that. No one knows whether Whitebeard is joking or speaking seriously. Chapter's events. ACE. I'm going to save you even if it kills me. Ace hit his head on the ground in frustration and complex emotions as he remembered what his crew and his brother had just said. We won't leave a single one of those bastards who hurt you alive, Ace. You just wait. We're coming to get you. Blood mixed with sweat dripped from Ace's forehead, where Garp noticed what had happened and asked, "What now?" Ace remained silent for a while before answering, "I feel like I can accept any future at this point. I'll grasp the hand that will reach out to save me. I'll also accept the blade that will swing down to judge me. I won't resist anymore. I owe everything that much." Hearing this from Ace, both Garp and Sengoku fell silent with wisdom. Batarilla. Sometimes a person finds themselves in an unwanted situation like this. They don't know what to do except surrender. Our son is now in such an enviable situation. At the moment of my execution, I smiled in the face of death, not caring because I was already determined to die. But he's not. Why are you talking as if this has already happened? Rouge was surprised to hear Roger's cryptic words. That's because it did happen to me already. Didn't you feel like you lived through a 20-month pregnancy and death after reading that in the manga? Roger looked curiously at his wife and asked. Rouge's eyelashes trembled after hearing that. Indeed, she had felt this strange feeling before. I felt as if I were somehow connected to what my counterpart in the manga felt. Rouge replied. Exactly, that's the feeling I'm talking about. Exclaimed Roger. Do you know the title of this chapter? He then asked. Karma. Isn't it? Rouge replied. Yes, karma. What you felt from the character that represents you in the manga is through similar karma. This means that Roger, who smiled at his execution in the first chapter, and Rouge, who sacrificed herself to save her son, represent another aspect of us in another world. My dear, perhaps we are reading and seeing what would have truly happened to us. Rouge's eyes widened upon hearing this. For some reason, Rob didn't die in this world, and as a result, all this happened. It seems our karma saved us this time, just as many other people were also saved thanks to their own karma. Ding! You've got 1999 art point from Gold Roger. Ding! You've got 999 art point from Port Castilla Rouge. Rob curiously looked at the rare notification that appeared on his system at this moment. The silent mode of the notifications was an adjustment Rob had made a long time ago. The fact that these two notifications appeared despite the silent mode meant only one thing. The system is trying to tell me something. Did Roger and Rouge discover something? Rob wondered internally. Well, I was going to visit them after some time anyway. I'll see what happens then, he thought. Back in Batarilla, this time inside the art store, Roger's crew were clutching their stomachs and rolling on the floor from laughter. The interaction between Whitebeard and Buggy, and the exquisite comedy provided by Buggy in the manga, made them burst into fits of laughter. Buggy's lips trembled as he watched the scene. Damn it! Why am I not already strong? Do I need to pretend, you cowardly clown? Just tell me what your role is in all of this. Buggy had to admit that he felt extreme pride when he saw Whitebeard speaking with his counterpart and reminiscing, but seeing his comrades laugh intensely at this scene made him waver between bitter and sweet feelings. Stop laughing, damn it! Sorbet Kingdom. Sayatsin's ace has completely surrendered to his fate. Garp felt deep sadness upon seeing this scene. He felt a strong urge to see his counterpart crush Sengoku and free Ace, escaping from the execution platform. Does this mean he's accepted his death? Little Bonnie wondered. He's accepted his death and his life too. It seems he no longer cares about any outcome. I feel this will push him to commit a lot of foolishness easily if he is released. Kuma, her father, answered her question. Man, I feel sorry for Ace. Ivankov sighed in frustration. As long as my counterpart is on the battlefield, the Marines won't be able to execute Ace easily. Crocodile exhaled smoke from his cigar before saying, Why do you feel such intense pride in your manga character, man? That's because my counterpart is a man and not Okama. Of course, I'll feel proud, Crocodile replied sarcastically. Ha! Are you mocking Okamas again? Haven't you seen what Bonchan did before? Isn't he an Okama too? I heard he feels extreme pride in his manga character as well even though he's still a child now, exclaimed Ivankov. Well, Mr. 2 is the only exception to this rule. Crocodile deepened his mocking tone at this moment. It can be said that Mr. 2, belonging to his organization in the manga, is the only Okama who deserves to feel proud because he has proven to have deep masculine values despite his orientation. Chapter 715, Smoker and Luffy. Patching the gaps with manga power. Chapter's events. You. Smokey. Of course, that jit. After taking a hit, Luffy regained his balance and identified the person who attacked him as Smoker. Ha! Ha! It's got Kairoseki in it. Damn you! I will finish you myself, declared Smoker firmly, determination evident in his eyes. Luffy was undeterred by Smoker's threat and countered, Gomu Gomu. Jet Gatling. His rapid punches didn't cause any harm to a Logia user like Smoker, who took the opportunity to strike back after transforming into smoke. White Launcher. He's way stronger than way before. Luffy quickly noticed. I believe that goes for both of us, replied Smoker, who had already reached Luffy and slammed him to the ground using his Kairoseki tip jit. But you cannot defeat me with your ability. Gwa screamed Luffy as he was pinned to the ground by the Kairoseki tipped jit around his neck. I can see exactly why it was. Ha! Ha! That dragon saved you back in Log Town, Straw Hat, said Smoker as he applied more pressure, trying to pin down Luffy who was attempting to escape. My strength is fading. Damn it. That jit. Get it off me. Luffy felt the weight of his body due to the Kairoseki's effect. Out of the way, fool. At that moment, Smoker was kicked away from Luffy. How dare you attack my beloved and pin him to the ground? Hancock was furious to the point of wanting to tear Smoker apart. The Pirate Empress, protecting Straw Hat. What's happening with this damn woman? Is she crazy? In Marineford, the Marine leaders were enjoying Smoker's overwhelming performance against Straw Hat Luffy, but suddenly, Boa Hancock intervened and kicked Smoker away. Considering Smoker as Luffy's legitimate rival from the Marine, and their battles were always characterized by fair and equal fights, seeing Smoker outmatched completely, as it happened in their first clash in Lode Town, made Sengoku and others naturally pleased. Just like in Lode Town, Luffy is being saved in almost the same way. This time it's Hancock instead of Dragon. Aren't she worried about her status as a Shichibukai? It seems Luffy is more important to her than the Shichibukai seat. How lucky he is. Mangaka concealed the lust in his eyes when he saw Hancock's legs, pure white, in the manga. Humph. How pitiful. A Logia user who doesn't know how to use haki. Judging by his reaction after Hancock managed to hit him, he must not know about haki at all. Akaino snorted contemptuously at Smoker's weakness in front of Hancock, who stopped him easily as if playing with a child. That's impossible. Recruits start learning how to use haki in their training stage, they can't graduate without learning it. His haki must be weaker than Hancock's, just like that, said Sengoku. That makes sense, replied Akiji. Anyway, it's clear that Hancock is playing both sides in this war. As expected, an ally who can't be fully trusted. Sengoku was upset to see Hancock handing over Ace's handcuff key to Luffy. He immediately crossed out Hancock's name from the allies list in this war. Inside the Marigoa, in the Hall of Authority. This slave, how arrogant she is. Saint Warcury felt extreme annoyance at Hancock's attitude in the manga. Man, take it easy, she's that man's daughter. Although Saint Nashiro had the same impression as Saint Warcury in his heart, the sudden death of the celestial dragon flashed through their minds after he expressed his desire for slaves her allowed in the art store. We're not in the art store, so he can't hear us anyway. Saint Mars interjected. I wanted to see Smoker kill Luffy, but that whore intervened. Even without her, it's impossible for Smoker to succeed in killing Luffy. Maybe this war will be Smoker's last chance to defeat him, after that, he'll be left in the dust. I'm curious about what happened to Bartholomew Kuma as well. Upon hearing that, the Gorosei's focus returned to the manga pages in the next scenes. Kuma! Kuma! Ha! Ha! Facing his comrade, Ivankov was still unsure of what he should do. If you do not stop this, then I will be forced to attack you. Enough of this nonsense. It is I. Do you mean to tell me you have forgotten this face? This was something Ivankov couldn't accept. At that moment, a third party intervened with laughter. Fufafu. I don't know what connection the two of you may have had, but you should give it up. There's no point trying to talk to him, Revolutionary Army Commander Emporio Ivankov. It was Doflamingo who said that. What on earth do you mean by that? Ivankov was surprised but felt that Doflamingo knew something about Kuma. I dare say the guy you knew was Bartholomew Kuma, right? He's the man once known by the name of Tyrant Kuma. Doflamingo paused for a moment, grinned wickedly, then continued. Well, he's already dead. Ivankov was shocked to the point where his eyes turned red. Wah! Already dead? How is that possible? Even the five elders were surprised by what Doflamingo said. My prediction was correct then, huh? Saint Mars felt a strong sense of appreciation and praise from his comrade's eyes, as he previously stated that Kuma was already dead, and now his theory was confirmed. The question here is, how did that happen? Did Vegapunk do it? Why would he do that? Empowering himself into pacifista in our hands. His weakness must have fallen into our hands. Otherwise, a king like him couldn't do that dash. At that moment, the five elders felt new memories emerging in their minds out of nowhere, about a certain female. The matter of retrieving Ginny, who was once a slave of the celestial dragon in the past. The strange scientific experiment conducted by Saturn personally on Ginny, revealing she was pregnant during the experiment. The sapphire scales disease. Ginny being cast away and her success in reaching the Sorbet Kingdom. Her death after giving birth to a daughter and leaving her in the care of Bartholomew Kuma, who was also their former slave. A unique slave of buccaneer descent. On her high throne, Imu felt the strange tension that occurred with her subordinates, whom she shared memories, power, and almost everything with. She looked towards the western horizon, directly towards Ohara, with a gentle smile on her face. Weird, she said. His daughter must have inherited her mother's chronic disease, and to save her, he had to surrender to us. Everything is clear now. Suddenly, the 5 elders felt enlightened about the reason that drove Kuma to transform himself into a cold weapon in their hands. They never doubted the memories that suddenly appeared out of nowhere in their minds. Only Imu was distracted, thinking about the strangeness of what had just happened. Chapter 716, Bartholomew Kuma is already dead. Sorbet Kingdom, inside the art store. Large tears fell from little Bonnie's eyes like watery jewels in that moment. Seeing Doflamingo in the manga saying that her father had died, Bonnie felt her heart shatter. Those memories she summoned from another future using her devil fruit ability at that time when they were reading the thriller Bark arc were not just illusions, right? Kuma's heart melted as he saw his precious daughter cry like this, and all he could do was to gently comfort her. Don't cry, my dear, it's all not real, just a story on paper. The memory that seemed distant and close at the same time, when her mother died in his arms, made Bartholomew Kuma's words catch in his throat. Just like what happened with the Gorosei a moment ago, it happened to him now. The foggy and incomprehensible memories became completely clear. Bonnie looked exactly like Ginny when she cried because of the sheer wonder of the happy life they lived after escaping from God Valley at the time. Even Ivankov found Bonnie's scene familiar. He knew her mother, didn't he? Already dead? What does Doflamingo mean by that? Ivankov felt sorrow after seeing this scene. Just keep reading, he will surely reveal what he knows in the next chapter. Dragon said indifferently. Following his words, they turned the manga page to the next chapter. Chapter's events. I always believed you would survive and make it here. With a cute smile, Hancock whispered to Luffy, then pulled out a small key and handed it to him. Take this. It's the key to your brother's handcuffs. Shocked and happy, Luffy embraced Hancock tightly. Hancock. You're the best. Thanks. I owe your debt. Hancock's cheeks turned red after the warm hug surprised her. Oh. Oh. Oh, no, don't mention it, just go. Do what you need to do, Luffy. To think he'd hug me so tightly. Is this what they call marriage? In that moment, Hancock was in waking dreams. You're not getting away, Straw Hat. Perfume femur. Smoker tried to chase Luffy again, but Hancock intervened once more. She raised her hand, gesturing to Smoker with her head tilted upwards in her disdainful manner towards men. Insolent swine. Back off, I say. I won't let you pass, she declared. I hope you're aware of the consequences if it's revealed you've been obstructing the Marine Force. Smoker said angrily at Hancock's rebellious actions. No matter what I do, I'll be forgiven, she asserted. That was awesome, she's really helpful. While running, Luffy glanced at the key and couldn't help but get excited. Kuma is dead. What nonsense is this? He's right in front of us. Luffy arrived to hear Ivankov yelling in response to Doflamingo's words. Iva-chan. Ha! Ha! It's that bear guy again. Seeing Hancock's sweet face as she offered the key to Luffy, Garp laughed. Boa ha ha. As expected from my grandson's wife, strength, agility, beauty, then intelligence and wisdom. There's no ideal woman like her in this world. Only Tsuru-chan in her youth could compare to her. Garp recalled how Tsuru was in her youth, extremely beautiful, strong, and wise, and he couldn't help but sigh at the rapid flow of time that turns anything beautiful into something ugly. Perhaps I should ask Dr. Kureha about the secret of her youthfulness and help Tsuru regain it. Speechless, Dragon looked at his father. Was his father still interested in pursuing Tsuru-san, who had rejected him numerous times already? As expected, Doflamingo truly knows what happened to Kuma in the manga. At that moment, both Kuma and Bonnie focused on Doflamingo's speech bubbles describing Kuma's condition in detail. They weren't the only ones, even Crocodile, Ivankov, Inazuma, and others were reading Doflamingo's words with interest. What does he mean by just a few days? Ha! This means that the change in Kuma happened shortly before the war. As expected. Vegapunk in the manga is the one who did it. He completed the modification of Kuma's body by removing his consciousness as a final step, isn't that right? Said Dragon. Hearing this, Kuma felt a chill down his spine. This grim fate, he didn't want it. He looked towards little Bonnie, who was still crying while reading what Doflamingo said. Only for her will I do this. In his heart, he already had a clear guess about the reason for his counterpart's end in this state. The difference between him and the dead if he's just a cyborg without consciousness. To be a war weapon controlled by the world government as they pleased. He couldn't rest even after his death. This fate was worse than death. What kind of stone-hearted heart does Vegapunk have in the manga to do such a thing to Kuma? Ivankov said with hatred. Impossible, Ivankov would never do that. Dragon objected. Ha! What is he trying to do? At that moment, Crocodile marveled at how his foolish counterpart still defied the Whitebeard. That Diamond Jozu was too strong. One punch from him made me bleed like this? Doflamingo again. No wonder even my counterpart doesn't like him. There's something about him that makes me want to slap his face repeatedly. Crocodile. At that moment, many pirates attacked Crocodile, who was still defying Whitebeard. There's no end of them, shouted Crocodile. We still have a long way to go. You're not coming near our old man, the pirates yelled before collectively attacking him. A sandstorm formed in Crocodile's hand. I suggest you don't get in my way. The sandstorm in Crocodile's hand transformed into a larger tornado that swept away all those who attacked him. Seeing this scene, Whitebeard sighed in annoyance. What a troublesome man. Causing a scene like this. Before Crocodile could react, he was punched with great force, sending him flying and bleeding from his nose. NGH. That immense size, and that speed. What a fighter you are. Diamond Jozu. At that moment, Diamond Jozu felt his movements stiffen. He looked back with difficulty to hear a mocking laugh. Fu-fu-few-few. Nice to see you made it, Crocman. How were the impel down bloodbaths? Doflamingo. Crocodile said with clear annoyance. Don't stick your nose in where it isn't wanted. Do you want me to kill you? You always were a sweet talker. Foo-foo. What do you say to joining forces with me? Doflamingo suggested with his devilish smile. My apologies, Red Hair. But I will not be merciful with my power. Mihawk withdrew his massive black sword before saying that. In front of him, Luffy was running with all his might towards him. Hawkeye, which he finally noticed. Now, Fate. Let us see how you favor this shining star of the next generation. Will his life end here? Or will you save it from my black blade? Mihawk wanted to test the extent of this boy's excellence, even though he might earn the enmity of Red Hair in this gamble. Ohara. This. Vegapunk's long tongue constantly swirled as a sign of his tension. What happened? Why would this happen? Doflamingo said you erased Bartholomew Kuma's consciousness completely, meaning you killed him, right? Clover sighed sadly. Why would your counterpart do such a thing? Homing also wondered. It's clear that Dr. Vegapunk cannot defy the orders of the world government. Saul said with a sad expression. And it must be Kuma-san's final wish. Even Brook felt that it was not Vegapunk's doing. I have an insatiable desire to know the details. I can't deduce anything from Doflamingo's words alone. Vegapunk said. Fufufu, it seems like what my counterpart said has put Vegapunk in a predicament. Not far from Vegapunk's group, Doflamingo chuckled lightly. Returning to the manga page, Daffy was annoyed by how Crocodile was dealing with his counterpart. Even though he's as weak as a chicken, he has a very high ego. Fufu, I like that. That's right, this idiot still tries to fight Whitebeard. What's wrong with his mind? Enel mocked. He fool. Jozu already crushed him. Even Rosinante found Crocodile's actions in the manga extremely foolish. Fate, huh? I bet he'll survive. No need to apologize to Red Hair. Mihawk's eyes gleamed at the last scene. Chapter 717, Luffy vs. Mihawk. Chapter's events. Ha! This is no time for me to be fighting a guy as strong as that. I'm here to save Ace. Ha! Luffy was forced to stop in his tracks by an extremely powerful figure, but he changed course and ran away from Mihawk. Before he could rush away, he was targeted by a slashing sword strike. You remain within my range, said Mihawk. You? He cut me. Mihawk didn't allow him rest as he targeted him again, then plunged his sword into the ground instead of Luffy's body. Out of the way, Straw Hat. We'll stop him for you. At this moment, two random Okamas intervened and ran toward Mihawk. Hawkeye. Do you remember us? We once faced you in battle. But we are newcomers now, far stronger than we once were. Immediately after that, they were cut down by Mihawk. I do not recall the face of every insect I crush. Why you? Gomu Gomu. Jet Baz. Before Luffy could unleash his attack, in a fraction of a second, he felt that his arms would be cut off if he attacked at that moment. He quickly pulled back and struck his hands on the ground. Ha, that was close. Just now, if I'd stuck my arm out, it would have been sliced off. You seem unusually calm, Mihawk said as he cut with unusual force. Luffy dodged the sword that would have cut him in half, but instead, the attack sliced through the entire iceberg. Seeing this widened Luffy's eyes in awe. The glacier is falling this way. Marines nearby retreated so the sliced iceberg wouldn't fall on them. Seeing this scene in the manga widened the eyes of readers worldwide and intensified their breaths. Mihawk was at a completely different level of strength than expected. This power. Insane. Oh my god, Luffy was almost cut in half. Why the hell is this monster targeting Luffy? Mihawk is terrifying. Is this what the world's strongest swordsman means? Oh my god, he cut the iceberg like it was butter. Unbelievable. Luffy would have lost both arms if not for his exceptional intuition. What is this? This excitement, this adrenaline. I feel my blood boiling watching this battle from one side. Is this how that young man will become in the future? What immense power. That's why he's a legendary hunter despite his young age. I do not recall the face of every insect I crush. What a powerful line. In O'Hara's art store, readers of all genders and ages were shocked by Mihawk's strength in the manga. Upon hearing the stunned reactions of readers to his performance in the manga, Mihawk's lips curved into a slight smile. Fufu, it seems your popularity is going through the roof again, Hawkeye. Daffy laughed before looking at Mihawk and saying, That's right, the enemies Luffy faces with despair in front of them are few and far between. You are one of them, added Enel. I feel like your counterpart truly wants to kill Luffy. Doesn't Garp see this? Why doesn't he intervene and show you the fate you wonder about, Fufufu? No one knows if Daffy is mocking Mihawk or Garp or both. I see your tongue has grown longer, boy. Mihawk's eyes, which resembled Hawk's, narrowed as he stared at Daffy. Hearing that, Daffy took out a small knife and handed it to Mihawk, whose eyes narrowed further upon seeing the short knife. Here, I don't have anything longer than this knife, but it'll do the job, Fufu. Daffy stuck out his tongue and said, Cut my tongue to make it shorter. Seeing this, Rosinante, Enel, and even Isho held their breaths so they wouldn't laugh at this moment. Everyone knows that Mihawk hates short knives ever since any opponent he fought pulled out a knife and told him he didn't have anything longer. "You're flirting with death." Mihawk's lashes trembled as he tried to remain calm. Sigh. Seeing this scene from afar, Rob shook his head and could only sigh. Daffy was truly a loose cannon. Even though he's been beaten repeatedly, he still repeats what he always does: you can undermine Iron and Kairoseki but not Doflamingo. Why does Big Brother Daffy bully Big Brother Mihawk again even though Big Brother Mihawk always defeats him? Rob laughed after hearing Robin's puzzled question. Ha ha. Your Big Brother Daffy is a quirky lunatic, don't mind him. Upon hearing that, Robin with her big blue eyes shifted her gaze to the next scene in the chapter where a battle erupted between Doflamingo and Crocodile. Batarilla Island. Inside the art store, Buggy felt reluctant as he saw the catastrophic scene in the manga that he was literally dragged into. Damn it, Straw Hat. He cursed loudly. Ha 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 ha. What a man, this Hawkeye is merciless. Shanks repeatedly struck his hand on his knee while laughing heartily. Shanks wasn't the only one laughing heartily at the moment, the entire Roger crew and ordinary people in Batarilla were. Luffy grabbing Buggy, who was caught in Crocodile's sandstorm, and pulling him towards him to use him as a shield against Mihawk's sword made readers give a thumbs up to Luffy, who used his wit for the first time. The best shield against Mihawk that can be used is a man who can be cut repeatedly without dying. Buggy was perfectly suited to be Luffy's flesh shield in this tough battle against the world's strongest swordsman. Whether the world's strongest swordsman or the weakest swordsman, as long as they use a sword, both are equal in the eyes of the legendary Buggy. Ha ha ha. Of course. Ha 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 ha. No one can cut our Buggy. Upon hearing this astounding praise from Rayleigh, Buggy began to smile unconsciously, but his face turned blue when Rayleigh continued his words. As long as he doesn't use hockey. Ha ha ha. That's right, it seems Mihawk is just playing with Luffy and Buggy. Ha ha ha. Muggy ball again. Look at the look on Buggy's face when it's returned to him. Ha 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 ha. Boom. It exploded in his face. Buggy really makes me laugh hard in this arc. Gabon held his stomach, unable to bear any more laughter. Not just him, but most readers in this art store were laughing every time Buggy appeared in a scene. At Rouge and Roger's house deep in Batarilla's forest. Why is Mihawk standing in front of Luffy, I wonder? Rouge wondered with concern. The Mihawk she knew and the Mihawk in the manga were like completely different characters. Perhaps he's just testing his curiosity. He's not serious to that extent. This man is extremely strong. Roger answered with admiration in his eyes. Seeing this skilled swordsman in the manga who doesn't exist in their era made him look forward to fighting him in the future when his real counterpart grows up. Oh, is that Newgate's son, Vista? It seems this skilled swordsman will intervene to stop Mihawk. Roger sighed with relief at seeing one of Whitebird's sons he knew intervening to save Luffy's but from a crushing monster like Mihawk. After all, even if the other party didn't really want to kill him, fighting Mihawk was still an unfair thing for Luffy and still out of reach. Chapter 718, The Appearance of Pacifistas. Chapter's Events. Whitebeard Pirates 5th Division Commander, Floral Blade Vista. Mihawk said after recognizing the person who intercepted his path. A pleasure, Hawkeye Mihawk. So you've heard of me. Vista in the manga had a mustache resembling Roger's and wore a classic black hat, wielding two swords against Mihawk's Yoru. I would be a fool if I had not, replied Mihawk. All right. I got away. Who's that old guy? Luffy exclaimed in surprise at Vista's intervention, running away from Mihawk. Whoever it is, thanks. That is no skill or technique, but the simple ability to turn those around him into his allies. This was Mihawk's conclusion at that moment. I would call that the most dangerous ability in this entire ocean. As the execution draws ever closer, a number of shocking truths have come to light. As the awaited execution approached, conflicts intensified in the war, with explosions and screams heard almost every second. A massive breakout of over 200 convicts from the impenetrable goal of Impel Down. And the notorious prisoners making their sudden appearance on the battlefield. The prisoners joining the war brought many changes with them. The spectacle that unfolds hardly appears to be of this world. A true ultimate battle set to change the course of history. The people of the world can only hold their breath and watch as the course of their future is decided here. Sphinx Island. Wow! It's Vista. He stopped Mihawk in his tracks, exclaimed Fasa. Amazing! Floral Blade. Will that be your future title, Vista? Wondered Jozu. It's astonishing to see you with a mustache, my son, Gorarara, laughed Whitebeard. Inside the art store, Whitebeard and his sons were thoroughly enjoying the scene where Vista intervened to save Luffy. Even Vista himself felt extreme pride and happiness at seeing this scene. It seems Mihawk acknowledges me as a worthy opponent, Vista said with a smile. That's right, after all, you are a great swordsman like him, isn't that clear? Maybe you're not as strong and famous as him, but undoubtedly, you're an extremely powerful swordsman, Marco spoke with a smile too. At the moment, they were all young, far from their future counterparts, both in strength and fame, but undoubtedly they would become just like them in the future or even better. But it's impossible to surpass this man, Mihawk. He's already a legendary hunter, at the pinnacle of this sea. Vista sighed in resignation. Mihawk truly sees the danger in the boy Luffy. Or to put it right, he discovered Luffy's uniqueness. Whitebeard nodded with a smile when he saw what Mihawk was thinking about Luffy's ability to turn those around him into allies. For the people around you to become your allies after a brief interaction with them, this ability is truly unparalleled. Even Whitebeard, one of the strongest figures in this sea, felt the extent of fear of Luffy's ability. Is this his advantage as the protagonist, perhaps? Marco wondered with a curious expression. Well, who knows? Anyway, the mysteries surrounding this boy shouldn't be simple. What did Shanks exactly see in this boy to bet on him in this way, and why did he do it in the first place? That's what needs to be thought about. The surrounding pirates also nodded as they heard their father's words. Among them was a pale-skinned pirate with spiky purple hair and a spider tattoo on his forehead, named Squard. Damn it! They're going to execute Ace immediately. At this moment, Marco's worried voice echoed. Sorbet Kingdom. Hey, it's ironic how Sengoku still cares about the Marine's reputation in such a war. Dragon mocked Sengoku's words, who ordered the live broadcast to be cut immediately after the preparations were done. Sengoku doesn't take this war seriously. He knows their goal will be achieved since matters have reached this point whether Ace is executed or not. Not just Sengoku, even the admirals, except for Akainu. Garp said calmly, expressing his thoughts. What do you mean? Ivankov asked. Kuma, Crocodile, and Dragon all looked at Garp, waiting for his answer. If Sengoku shows his strength, he can easily suppress the war, not to mention Borsalino and Kuzan, who, if unleashed their true abilities, this war won't last more than 5 minutes. The old Whitebeard won't be able to do anything if the fleet admiral and admirals cooperate against him with their full power. Look, he's standing there without any movement since the war began. It seems Sengoku doesn't intend to intervene primarily. But that doesn't change the fact that he's a cunning bastard. He loves winning with minimal effort. Buawahaha. Garp laughed after revealing Sengoku's true character to the Revolutionary Army members. Dragon returned his gaze to the manga scenes. At this moment, he felt a tremor when he saw a large number of pacifistas once again. These Marines bastards. How disgraceful. Even Kuma didn't like seeing dozens of copies of himself as weapons of mass destruction in the hands of the world government. In a few hours' time, when the world learns of the outcome, the single word victory will be more than enough. Sengoku said after ordering the live broadcast to be cut immediately after the preparations were done. Look! Over on the bay shore. There's something there. At this moment, the pirates noticed something. Those aren't our allies. They must be Marines who've snuck around behind the ice. What are they? So those are the government's human weapons. I had heard rumors. Whitebeard said after looking at the newcomers. It's those bear guys we saw back at the Sabaody archipelago. There's so many. Luffy exclaimed in shock after seeing that. K. Kuma. Seeing dozens of Kuma almost made Ivankov faint from the shock. Approximately 1.5 hours after the commencement of battle, the Marines unveiled their masterstroke. Now, all of you. The newcomer Sentomaru spoke, his giant axe still on his shoulder. We've waited long enough. It's finally our turn. Behind him stood dozens of pacifistas similar to Kuma in a terrifying scene. This would rapidly change the flow of battle, sending it hurtling into its final phase. Marine Ford. Alright, this is good news. I was wondering why such a powerful weapon wasn't involved in the war. They were indeed a winning card, weren't they? Sengoku smiled upon seeing the pacifistas join the exhausting battle at last. Many pirates are about to face their downfall in this war. Zephyr nodded, acknowledging the strength of the pacifistas, one of whom alone pushed Luffy's crew into despair in the Sabaody archipelago. It seems Vegapunk has made a significant contribution to justice, Sakazuki said with a slight smile, entirely satisfied after seeing the pacifistas join the battlefield. It must be said that the real contributor is the tyrant King Bartholomew Kuma. Borsellino replied. Humph. Pirates have no right to speak of them. Sakazuki sneered. I wonder if the real person would be pleased to see an army of cold machines with his face. For Kuzan, he would certainly not be pleased. Sigh, if only my counterpart knew that the people of the world see what he's doing now on manga pages, he wouldn't order the live broadcast cut if he knew. Sengoku sighed mockingly at himself. After all, he knew he would be a subject of ridicule for many at this moment. Chapter 719, Call Admiral Kizaru here, I want to kick him in the face. The sight of dozens of Kuma entering the battlefield and surrounding the Whitebeard pirates and their allies from all sides left readers around the world in utter shock. This was expressed through numerous posts almost every second on the global forum. No one expected the Marines' preparations to allow clones of Bartholomew Kuma to enter the war. In O'Hara, readers held their breath in anticipation of more shocks due to the fluctuations in the situation at Marineford. That scoundrel Sentomaru again. Ugh, how I hate him. I also hate that arrogant fatso. An army of Bartholomew Kuma. Oh my god. How are the Whitebeard pirates supposed to win such a war? They're crushing the pirates left and right like a pack of wolves entering a sheep pen. This is what human weapons should be like, the pacifistas. Dr. Vegapunk's tongue kept spinning constantly, indicating his excitement at this moment while seeing one result of his multiple inventions and wanting to see more of them. Will it be easy for you to replicate what your counterpart did, Vegapunkyo? Clover asked while wiping his glasses and putting them back on. Creating such powerful robots isn't difficult, what's challenging is finding a suitable model like Bartholomew Kuma's body, who is a distinct race, explained Vegapunk. A distinct race? Well, that's somewhat clear. Clover nodded in understanding. Seeing you sitting here with us makes it hard for me to imagine your counterpart as an evil person, even though he seems that way from what he's done so far, Saul said with a sad expression. Evil person? Well, what my counterpart did can be explained logically. The world government provides me with the necessary resources for my scientific research, and in return, I develop technology that benefits them. That's exactly what I've been doing since joining them, even choosing Rob's side over theirs. In the manga world, there's no Rob, so my counterpart still works for the world government even though I bet he doesn't like it. After hearing Vegapunk's clarification, Saul, Brooke, Clover, Homing, Isho, and the others understood completely. Anyway, I wonder how the Whitebeard pirates will respond to this move. Foo. Doflamingo laughed enthusiastically. Chapter's events. All troops, move away from the ice immediately. The pirates must not be allowed to reach the square, exclaimed Sengoku. Hurry! Charge them down, pacifista, ordered Sentomaru. To hell with you. A certain pirate fired a bazooka at the pacifista in his face. The smoke cleared to reveal the intact face of the pacifista, which then opened its mouth and unleashed a deadly laser attack. Afa! At Sabaody Archipelago, spectators heard the screams of pirates being bombarded by the pacifista. What's going on? It's like they're not even human. Are they immortal? Suddenly, the broadcast was cut from two screens, leaving only one working screen in the middle. Ah! The visuals. As soon as all visuals have been cut, mobilize the encircling wall. Then we can execute Ace and eliminate the enemy in one fell swoop, ordered Sengoku. Roger that. Hearing that, Ace felt emptiness and sadness. Ha! Ace is in danger. I've gotta hurry. Luffy tried to accelerate more, but at that moment, he was kicked hard in the face, sending him flying backward. It's high time you went back to square one, spoke Kizaru slowly, as usual. He was the one who kicked Luffy. Luffy-kun. Jimbei intercepted Luffy's flight path and caught him carefully. Gay. Ha! Jimbei. The Admiral came after me. Damn it. He may be powerful, but we must hurry nonetheless. No matter how formidable the enemies who appear to stand in our path, we were fully prepared for as much when we made the decision to come to this place. Marigoa, in the domain of the gods. Inside the art store, the celestial dragons were currently in a state of extreme frustration. I feel deeply sorry for Luffy. He's being brutally beaten here and there. These cursed admirals. Kizaru has gone way too far. I haven't forgotten how he caused immense harm to my Nami-san and my Robin-chan at Sabaody Archipelago. And now, once again, he kicks Luffy with such extreme violence. Unforgivable. Despicable. This is despicable. He just wants to save his brother. What wrong has he done to deserve such harsh treatment? Contact Admiral Kizaru to come here. I want to kick him. Calm down, Saint Francois. Admiral Kizaru is currently unavailable. Pa! One of the celestial dragon guards tried to calm him down but received a hard slap across his face. Is your place here to express your opinion, you insect? Come here. Take this damn guard away from me and call Admiral Kizaru immediately. Understood, sir. Of course, the guard who was slapped felt no pain on his face, but he turned around and left without being dragged out. Seeing this, Saint Figureland shook his head mockingly, as did the rest of the Holy Knights. When did these fools start leaning towards the side of good? I don't know. Forget it, let them do as they please, it doesn't matter anyway. Batarilla Island. That wicked villain, Sengoku. At that moment, Roger strongly wished to be part of this war to show Sengoku that neither plans nor wisdom are useful against absolute power. At that time, Sengoku would have no choice but to descend from the platform and personally participate in the war. Ace. Rouge felt heaviness in her heart upon seeing the lifeless expression on Ace's face in the manga. Don't worry, my dear, Luffy won't allow anything bad to happen to Ace. I'm sure of it, BFT. Before Roger could finish his words, he coughed from the drink he had just taken a sip of. And the reason, the scene he just saw in the manga with its hero. Buggy. What is this fool doing? Wahahaha. Just a moment ago, both Roger and Rouge were somber after seeing Ace's condition and Luffy being attacked by Kizaru. But after Buggy appeared, stealing one of the Den Den Mushi of visual broadcasts, both Roger and Rouge were nearly choked by the sudden laughter forced upon them by Buggy. Ha ha ha. Wah-aha. What is he doing? He stole the Den Den Mushi visual broadcast. Wahahaha. Seeing how this made Sengoku extremely mad soothes a bit of my annoyance. Chapter 720. Yes, indeed, I'm the legendary Buggy. Chapter's events. 10th Division Commander Kiriel. If you intend to fight me, then I will simply crush you. But your death is already certain as long as you remain in this bay. Kishishishishi. Ace will die. And you will all be trapped like rats and exterminated. Moria planned to shatter the morale of his enemy, one of the Whitebeard pirates' commanders, with those words. I care little which side prevails here. But witnessing Whitebeard's death will be a treat indeed. Moria continued with his nonsense. I will not let neither the old man nor Ace go to their deaths, exclaimed Curiel, firing his pistols at Moria. On the other hand, Mihawk and Vista were still exchanging sword blows. Let us postpone this match for the moment, Vista, said Mihawk calmly. That would seem to be most advantageous to both of us, replied Vista with a big smile on his face. Smoker-san. This place is. In another part of the battlefield, Tashigi ran up to Smoker, warning him about something. I'm quite aware, said Smoker. Luffy. You must hurry and save your brother. With a worried expression, Hancock encouraged Luffy in her heart. Inside the central prison on Hunter's Island. Ha? 10th Division Commander Cruel? Who is this bastard? Seriously? Is he planning to fight me with guns? I am the Shadow Monarch. Do you think these childish toys are enough to challenge me? Kishishishishi. Will the commanders of Whitebeard's pirates really become weak like this in the future? Moria was enjoying this moment, being attacked by one of the famous 8 commanders in Whitebeard's crew using guns. Even though they were large in size, it was still not enough for him. Jihahaha. What if he can imbue his bullets with haki? I don't think any of Newgate's commanders don't know how to do that. Maybe you won't say that at that time. The Golden Lion Shiki mocked Moria's ignorance. And seriously, do you really think you're the Shadow Monarch? Jahahaha. You must be crazier than me. Shiki added insult to injury. You? Veins popped on Moria's forehead. He wanted to curse the old rascal and show him his power in freely manipulating shadows, but he remembered the constant kicks he was receiving and swallowed his grievances. Hee hee, how annoying, you bug. Shiki lost interest in Moria and looked back at the manga. His attention was drawn to the ongoing battle between the swordsman Mihawk and Vista. His disappointment was short-lived as they ended it by mutual agreement soon after. These scoundrels. What kind of sword fight is this? It's clear you don't want to fight in the first place. Aren't you the strongest swordsman in the world? Ha! Then why can a random swordsman stop you from achieving what you want, and it seems he succeeded easily, Jayahaha. Shiki mocked Mihawk, who was the one who initiated stopping the fight. East Blue, Log Town. Here you go, young man. This strawberry juice is much better than alcohol for someone your age. At the art store, Raoul, the waiter Rob once hired here, placed a drink on young Smoker's table. I'm not a kid. I'm already 14, old man. Smoker seemed displeased with being called a child but took the strawberry juice and drank it with a tipsy expression. Ha ha ha. All right, fair enough. Raoul returned to his work, leaving Smoker to enjoy his drink. That bastard, he tricked me. Smoker felt embarrassed after Raoul left. He had just boasted that he wasn't a child, yet he enjoyed drinking strawberry juice instead of alcohol. Smoker knew Raoul. Well, everyone knew Raoul because after all, this man had a background in the manga, appearing in the Logtown arc and meeting Luffy, and he had a certain connection with Roger in the past. Smoker forgot about Raoul in the next moment as he was drawn back into the events of the manga. What did Tashigi mean by this place is what? Or rather, what's the deal with this girl who appears everywhere my counterpart appears? Are they really together? Smoker felt embarrassed thinking about that. After all, there are many theories that Smoker and Tashigi have a deeper relationship than leader and follower. Have all the visuals been cut? Sengoku asked on the execution platform, referring to what had been ordered earlier. Not yet. It will only be a little longer. The soldier replied nervously. Only one of the screens is still working. What are those voices saying? In the Sabaody archipelago, the audience felt astonished by the sudden change. Ah! That figure over there. Could it be? This voice came from the screen that was still transmitting audio and video. What exactly is the delay? Hurry it up. Sengoku lost his composure upon hearing that. In the Sabaody archipelago, on the screen that was still functioning, a figure appeared with his back to the audience, wearing an elaborate Marine officer's uniform but with an X mark over the Marine logo. Is it really him? The man who was concealing his true identity until recently. Who actually once sailed upon the ship of Pirate King Gold Roger as a member of that legendary crew. Viewers could hear the astonishment and shock in the speaker's tone. Could it be that pirate of pirates, Captain Buggy the Clown? Well, sure. That's me. Ha! Buggy's face appeared on the screen with a bleeding nose and a missing tooth, completely shattering the viewer's imagination about the legendary pirate. I thought the fact that I'm a legendary pirate was supposed to be a secret, though, said Buggy. Whoa, Captain Buggy. Your nose is bleeding. Your face. Wipe your face. Let's try this again. Take 2. I am telling you, cut all visuals right now. We cannot proceed to the next stage of the operation until you do. Sengoku completely lost his composure upon hearing that cutting off the broadcast entirely was not possible. Well, the thing is, one of the visual Den Mushi has been stolen by the escaped convicts from Impel Down, the soldier hesitantly explained. What? Exclaimed Sengoku. BFFFT. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. Ha 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 ha. I'm dying. This is hilarious. Ha 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 ha. Oh my god. Ha ha ha. Buggy did it again. Ah ha 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 ha. Look at his face. His nose is bleeding. Ha 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 ha. These escaped prisoners are completely foolish. Ha ha ha. They're causing so much trouble for the Marines. Ha 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 ha. Look at the expressions of the crowd, as if they're wondering where this clown came from. Weren't they just watching a bloody war? Why suddenly a comedy show? Ha 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 ha. Ha ha ha. I can't stop laughing. My stomach hurts. The way they did this scene is extremely funny. In the art store in Batarilla, Shanks was holding his stomach and wiping tears from laughing so hard at this moment because of Buggy's scene. The moment he saw how Buggy's face looked when he said for the first time, well, sure. That's me, he sprayed everything in his mouth, whether food or drink. It wasn't just him, even Rayleigh couldn't hold himself as he laughed until his stomach hurt. Gabon, Crocus, who happened to return to sailing with them, Nosden, Fishman Sunbell, Spencer, and all of Roger's crew, both old members and newly joined ones, were all laughing hard at this moment, just like the other residents of Batarilla. Buggy smiled after seeing the laughter fit caused by his counterpart, ha ha ha. Then he laughed too because he found that what his counterpart did, stealing the visual Den Mushi and using it for show-off and spreading a semi-fake reputation to the world, was indeed a very funny act. That wraps up this part of What If Becoming a Mangaka in One Piece World. Thanks so much for listening. As always, new parts drop every 4 days, so be sure to stay tuned. Also check out my Patreon channel for early releases of all the series, where you can find all the series released one day ahead of YouTube. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, share it with your friends, and please consider supporting the original author as well. See you in the next one.